Forget about SUVs. You love cars, I love cars, and that's why I'm here today. I'm going to tell you about the best sedans and hatchbacks, gas, hybrid, and electric that you can buy in 2026. Because if we work together, we can keep cars alive. Join me on my noble cause.
We're Edmunds, and we test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews. If you want to know which car, truck, or SUV is the best, then stick with us.
If you want a small car or a hatchback or a hybrid or a hot hatch, the Civic covers pretty much all the bases. We've put the gas Civic up against other small gas cars, we've put the hybrid up against the Prius, we've put the extra sporty Civic Type R against other sports cars. This thing always comes out on top. The interior is super nice, it's roomy, comfortable, practical, and it's great to drive. So what's the catch? If you just want a gas car, you can only get it on the lower trim levels like the Sport. That's mostly fine. The only real knock we have against the Civic Sport is that you can get an older touchscreen setup that isn't very nice. It's small, it doesn't have a ton of features, it's acceptable. If you want a higher trim, you get a hybrid and vice versa. That means the price of entry for the hybrid Civic is higher than other small hybrids at just over 30 grand. And if you want to get the big touchscreen, you have to move up to the top trim Sport Touring Hybrid at 33 grand. If you want to go sporty, just skip the Civic Si. It used to be a great affordable sport compact, but these days there are just better picks. If you want a sporty Civic, then the Civic Type R is an absolutely excellent sports car. You just gotta be prepared for the price tag. A lot of work and a lot of special parts made their way into making the Type R special, and the nearly $50,000 price tag reflects this, and this is before the dealer gets a hold of you. We seriously love the Civic, but the value proposition for every version from gas to hybrid to sporty is only average. It's missing features like cooled front seats and adjustable lumbar that you can get almost everywhere else, and the warranty's pretty basic. It feels really nice and well built though, so the Civic makes up for the cost and overall quality. But if you're worried about cost, we've got the tools to help you find the best deal on a Civic or any other hybrid. Head on over to edmunds.com or check out the links down low in the description. If you want a more value pick, we're going to have to point you towards Kia or Hyundai. These companies are basically siblings, and their vehicles are pretty similar, but for small cars, we think there are some clear picks. For a gas car, the K4 offers really excellent value. You get a big standard touchscreen, a ton of the latest tech, and a really nice looking interior. There are things like cooled front seats and a surround view camera to make parking a breeze, all for thousands less than you would get in a top tier Civic. And you get years of extra warranty coverage. The downsides? Well, from behind the wheel, the K4 is a bit of a letdown. Even if you get the upgraded turbo motor from the GT line, it's slow to respond. Add to that a ride that's bumpier and less pleasant than the Civics, and the K4 just doesn't shine when it's in motion. It's too bad there's no hybrid version of the K4. For that, you have to go over to the Hyundai Elantra Hybrid. The Elantra Hybrid is seriously affordable and gives you a big boost in fuel economy. 50 mpg combined or better according to the EPA. You get a lot of room and comfy seats too, along with the same great warranty that the K4 has. But the Elantra Hybrid just doesn't offer as many features as the K4, and the interior feels a lot cheaper and more plasticky, especially in the backseat. And it's still not very nice to drive. You'll really be mashing the gas when you want to merge on the freeway, and the inputs aren't that sharp. If you want something that's great to drive, try the Elantra N. Where the Civic Si falls kind of flat, this thing rules. It's just pure fun on wheels. But we're not quite done yet, because what if you want a small, practical hatchback but you live in somewhere with ice-cold winters and you've gotta have all-wheel drive? Did you know Subaru still makes the Impreza? Yeah, I almost forgot too. The Impreza may be way less popular now that the Crosstrek is out hogging all the limelight, but if you want a capable all-wheel drive sedan and don't want to jump to an SUV, this is a great pick. The seats are soft and supportive, the ride is smooth, and the cargo area is almost as big as the Civic hatchbacks. Yes, the interior is kind of plain, it just feels really basic inside, but that's okay. That's not why you pick the Impreza. You pick it because it's got that Subaru all-wheel drive system that in our experience does a really good job of managing traction in a lot of situations. You don't get the fancy off-road driving modes like you do in the Crosstrek, but then the Impreza is also lower to the ground, so it's not meant to be doing much off-roading anyway. If you want a small car to put snow tires on and feel more confident handling out in the winter, the Impreza is our pick. The Toyota Camry has been the default family car for decades now, but this new version that went on sale for 2025 actually deserves to be the default. The Toyota Camry is now hybrid all of the time, but that's great news for how it drives and for your gas budget. Yeah, this thing actually drives a lot better than you think, and it feels really stable on the road. Plus, it gets incredible fuel economy for a midsize car. You can even get all-wheel drive if you need it, and almost no one else offers that in a midsize sedan right now, especially if you get a hybrid. The Camry's tech is excellent too. The big touchscreen is actually great to use with a ton of features, but the big tech highlight is the driver aids. They actually work like you want them to. They help you out without being annoying. And you get more of them as standard than in rivals like the Accord too. So the Camry finally gets a personality, and it finally has an edge in the midsize sedan game. Happy ending, right? The only thing is, the Camry is a little small for a midsize sedan, and in practice you can tell that it's a little tighter in the back than other cars in this size class. The trunk is also a bit smaller for a midsizer. If you need a bit more space for passengers and stuff, check out the Honda Accord. It's comfortable and roomy, but doesn't have the other advantages over the Camry. Look, these are both excellent cars, and in most ways they're pretty much neck and neck, but the Accord has a few weaknesses. First one, in our testing, the Accord Hybrid fell short of its EPA estimated fuel economy. We saw 41 mpg on our test loop, which is still really good, but it's definitely worse than the Camry's 46. 2, just like the Civic, the Hybrid is limited to higher trim levels, and so is the best equipment. Hybrid to hybrid, you'll pay a few grand more for any Accord than for a similar Camry without really getting the equipment or more features. You're more paying for comfort and space and that classic Honda driving experience. And if you're trying to figure out your budget for your next car, we can help you find out what your old car is worth and get you an instant cash offer. For an entry-level luxury car, you cannot beat the BMW 3 Series. Everything about this feels like a proper luxury sedan. The cabin is modern and build quality is pretty much the best you'll find in this class. The seats are supportive and comfortable over a long haul, and the interior does a great job of sealing you from the outside world. It also does exactly what you want from a BMW and drives like a hero. Our test team even said that the entry-level 330 is great to drive, which means it still has a little bit of that BMW DNA of old. Getting the optional M Sport gives you a great balance of handling prowess without getting too firm or harsh over the bumps. Not to mention the M340, which comes with a great inline 6 that is good for a 4.6 second 0 to 60 run at our test track. That's almost as quick as a V8 powered Ford Mustang. If you want a sporty upgrade, it's totally worth the money, but most people will just go for the 330 and they'll be perfectly happy with that. The biggest problem with just about any European luxury car is just how many options it has. Surround view camera, parking sensors, adaptive cruise. Some of this stuff comes standard on cars that are half the price. For a bigger, more relaxed luxury car, we like the Mercedes E-Class. This thing oozes luxury. The interior is exceptional with high-quality materials everywhere and super comfortable, super adjustable seats. We tried it out with the optional air suspension and were amazed by how smooth it is to drive, even around the busted roads of Los Angeles. Between the seats, the incredible ride, and the extra quiet cabin, this car is downright relaxing. It's packed with all sorts of tech too, like that big, gorgeous touchscreen. You can get an extra screen for the passenger too, which I think is a bit of a gimmick, but it's got controls for the entertainment options. We honestly think the cabin looks nicer if you skip the screen and just get the wood trim though. The biggest knock against the E-Class is that the rear seat isn't the most accommodating for taller passengers. For that, you need to jump up to the bigger S-Class, although people 6 feet and under should have plenty of room. If you want an affordable electric car, the Tesla Model 3 is your best bet. A few years ago, we would have said different, but an update for 2024 dramatically improved both the build quality and the overall comfort. So now the Model 3 is a lot more pleasant on the road, which means you can actually enjoy the power and the performance. And there's plenty of power. At our test track, the long-range all-wheel drive model did 0 to 60 in just 4.2 seconds, and the performance did it in 3 seconds flat. Almost all the other cars that we've tested that have done 3 seconds cost more than 100 grand. We also recently had a chance to drive the new Model 3 Standard, and we were pretty impressed by how many of the regular Model 3 strengths that this thing keeps, even at the lower price point. It's really nice to see more EVs coming in at under 40 grand. Range is a strength with only a tiny catch. The Model 3 long range fell short of its EPA estimate in our Edmunds EV range test, but only by a couple of miles. It managed 338, which is still a great result for the price. The other major problem with the Model 3 is common to all Teslas. All of the controls are routed through the big center touchscreen, and it's just annoying. Do you want to adjust your mirrors or aim your air vents? Gotta use the touchscreen. If you want an electric luxury car, the Audi A6 Sportback e-tron is brand new and it just jumped to the top of our rankings. One big surprise was the range. In the Edmunds EV range test, we managed more than 400 miles on a single charge. This is one of just 10 cars we've tested that have broken the 400-mile barrier, and almost all of them are more expensive than this. But even more surprising is how well the A6 drives. Our testers said the car feels balanced and more playful around corners than you'd expect from a sedan this size. Yeah, they use the word playful to describe an Audi. Can you believe it? Of course, there's also amazing tech with one of the most intuitive touchscreen interfaces you'll find in any luxury car. And thanks to that Sportback part in the name, this thing is actually a liftback and has a ton of cargo space. There are a few problems. On the whole, the cabin doesn't feel quite as premium as some competitors like the BMW i5, for example. We also didn't think the back seats were all that comfortable, especially for longer drives. We've got full ratings and reviews for pretty much every car, truck, SUV, hybrid, hatchback, everything on sale today over at the website. It takes a lot of time and a lot of people to test and rate hundreds of cars every year. A like and subscribe lets us know you appreciate the work we put in and you want us to keep it going. So there you go. These are the best cars of 2026. Skip the SUV and join me in embracing cars and everything will be just fine.